It's 7 p.m. on Monday, October 20th, 2025, and I will call this regular City Council meeting to order. Councilmember Cedar, would you lead us in the flag salute?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no one signed up. Oh, no, I need to do roll call. Let's see. So we have Councilmember Whalen, Councilmember Hall, Councilmember Cedar, Councilmember White, and Mayor Pro Tem present. Councilmember Peretti and Strader have both been asked to be excused this evening. Someone make a motion?
Motion to excuse.
Second.
Okay. It's been motioned by Councilmember Whalen and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to excuse Councilmember Peretti and Strader this evening. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 5-0. For staff, we have Planning Manager Stallnecker, Director Madden, Interim Director Robeck, Chief Hernandez, and City Clerk Tricia Summers. We have no one signed up for citizen participation this evening. Moving on to additions and deletions. Are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda? Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. May I get a motion to pass? Councilmember Cedar?
Move to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to pass the consent agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 5-0. Council, we have 3 agenda items this evening with an executive session. The first item is on page 33 of the packet. It is the first read of Ordinance 2124-25 for a budget amendment. I'm going to turn the floor over to Interim Director Robeck.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The proposed ordinance provides adjustments to the 2025 budget as adopted by City Council on December 2nd, 2024. This is the 4th ordinance amending the 2025 budget and reflects changes that have occurred since adoption of the original budget. These adjustments are detailed in the accompanying Exhibit A and are mostly adjustments to the estimated actual. If this ordinance is passed, these amounts will be adjusted in the next version of the 2026 preliminary budget that you receive.
Are there any questions for Interim Director Robeck? Okay. Moving on to our next item this evening. It is on page 39 of the packet. It is the first read of Ordinance 2125-25 regarding an update to the critical areas section of our code. I'm going to turn the floor over to Planning Manager Stallnecker.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is actually the last step in the 2024 Comprehensive Plan update, or the periodic update, which included the comprehensive plan, some changes to the zoning code, which the council approved in January. And then this portion was to review our critical areas ordinance, and it needed to be done by the end of this year. And so in essence, there's some updates to the definitions and to the critical areas section. It is pretty technical in nature. Basically, the Department of Ecology provided us a checklist. We went through the checklist, and you're basically looking at, we have the requirements. We also did receive some comments from the Department of Natural Resources and incorporated those into our section. The 60-day state comment period ends October 28th, so if any other comments come in this next week, they would be incorporated before the public hearing. But there's no policy changes suggested. It's just, for the most part, or all of it, is aligning with what the state requires. Definitions have changed, some of the process has changed, so it's just matching us up with what the state requires. There will be a public hearing is scheduled for November 3rd, as well as action can be taken that night, as again, it's more of a clearinghouse or kind of a cleanup to make sure we match. Thank you.
Any questions for Planning Manager Stallnecker? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. So this was purely just to get us aligned with the state?
Correct. It was a requirement, and they gave us all the documentation that said, this is what we want to see. And like I said, then we send it out to all the individuals, and so far only one has come back with some additional comments of things they would like us to put in.
Okay. Yeah, you weren't kidding about technical reading. Fish, and then plants, and, yeah, and drainage. And it was actually, in some ways, very interesting, but it's not the fastest read in the world.
Any other questions for Planning Manager Stallnecker? Okay. Last agenda item this evening is on page 139 of the packet. It is a project acceptance for the SR at Porterway intersection improvements. Going to turn the floor over to Director Madden, and then following his review, I will need a motion to open up the floor for discussion.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is an action item before us tonight. This project consisted of, it's for the SR 99 Porterway project, which I know we're all familiar with, but just as a recap, this project consisted of installation of traffic control signals, roadway lighting, roadway widening, grading, storm drainage, retaining walls, utility relocation, medians, curbs, gutters, pedestrian facilities, 88 curb ramps, channelization, signing, landscaping, and other work in accordance with the contract plans and specifications. Miles Resources LLC was awarded the contract for construction in August 2024. That project reached physical completion in September of 2025. Part of final acceptance is bringing this project forth for council, so we have the ability to release the retainage bond once Miles LLC has met all of the state requirements for such. The action item tonight is for council's final acceptance, which would allow the city to release the bond.
Councilmember Cedar?
I move to accept the SR 99 at Porterway intersection improvements, project 155A, as complete and release the retainage bond to the contractor, subject to proper releases from the state of Washington.
Second.
That was pretty close. We'll give it to Councilmember Whalen. It's been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Councilmember Whalen to accept the SR 99 at Porter intersection improvements project number 155A as complete and release the retainage bond to the contractor, subject to the proper releases from the state of Washington. Councilmember Cedar, did you want to speak to your motion?
Just wanted to clarify, I recall early in this process that the 99 intersection was going to have the let's see, be the south side of where Porterway intersects also improved and the bus stop moved to after the stoplight. Do you have any update on what that was? I think it was that's a separate WashDOT project maybe, or something. I don't recall the specifics of how the projects all broke down. Or maybe that was scrapped altogether.
So we're talking about north of Porterway on SR 99?
It would be, right now, the Pierce Transit stop is north of Porterway, and I recall, I can't remember if it's Pierce Transit or WashDOT talking about moving it to the south of that intersection as part of this kind of new design.
Sure. This project did not move the bus stop, but Angela and I are meeting with Sound Transit on a regular basis, and we met with Pierce Transit as part of our Sound Transit meetings 2 weeks ago. And so we're looking at all the stops along the 99 corridor. How can we make it safer? Where can we move them? Where are the pedestrian facilities existing? Where will they be with 99 improvements? And so all of those are still ongoing discussions.
Okay, awesome. And I only bring that up, I thought this was an opportunity since we're talking about this. I understand completely that this project is complete, and all we're doing tonight is just saying thumbs up, release the retainage bond. And what I'm hearing from you is that this is complete from your perspective as well. And so no reason to vote against this, in my opinion. Thank you.
Correct.
Councilmember Whalen, did you want to speak to your second?
No, I don't, but I'm very pleased to see how it turned out, and it seems to be very comfortable for everyone that's using it. And the whole scheme, and I'm going to jump over to the circle and so forth. People are very happy. There's a lot of trepidation. You might say, wow, that would turn out. But good project, excellent on 99.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. Yeah, oh, I mean, it looks so much nicer than it used to. And it's actually a pleasure to drive down Porter toward 99 and not having all the traffic backed up.
Yeah.
So kudos to that. Now, I remember in the beginning of the project, and then I know that we had to tail it down, there were going to be lights on the sidewalk to the south, correct?
Correct. We looked at expanding our street lighting to the south, and that was an element of the project that we needed to cut to
Right,
conserve the
right.
budget.
So do you foresee us maybe doing that in the future? That just as a separate phase?
Yes, I've been in contact with WashDOT, and they're planning on submitting an SR 99 sidewalk project on behalf of the city, which they did. We were right under the funding bubble 2 years ago when that project came forward. This is our second attempt. And the goal of that project would be to link up sidewalk improvements related to SR 167 to our Porter 99 project improvements, which would create a sidewalk all the way from Fife into Milton.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
I also wanted to see if I remembered that correctly.
yes. And lighting would be improved at that time also.
Right, yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions for Director Madden? Okay. So it's been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Councilmember Whalen to accept the SR 99 at Porterway Intersection Improvements Project number 155A as complete and release the retainage bond to the contractor subject to proper releases from the state of Washington. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 5-0. So it is 7:12 p.m. And the City Council will now go into executive session for planning or adopting the strategy or position to be taken by the City Council during the course of any collective bargaining, professional negotiations, or grievance or mediation proceedings, or reviewing the proposals made in the negotiations or proceedings while in progress pursuant to RCW 42.30.1404B. Meeting shall be approximately 15 minutes. So if we don't come back by 7:30, I will come in to extend. So we're going to head out. Michelle, do you want to come?
Executive session will be extended for 10 minutes, coming back at 7:43.
Ready? The executive session is concluded and adjourned at 7:39 PM. And we'll move on to council reports. Councilmember Whalen.
Did have a question for Public Works. Is there a time frame for the street, like 13th, to be rebuilt?
This year, there's not an official timeline. I would say we're closer than we've been in the past. We got quotes this year to repave. The problem with 12th and 13th, as we've discussed in the past, is the water lines and replacing those. We did have them scope the project on 13th, approximately $75,000. And so the thought is that we're going to bank any type of additional pavement repairs. One, because of the time of year. Two, so we can have additional funds next year. And then we'll add to the $200,000 if passed in the budget for 2026. And we may be able to find some economy of scale. So there's a potential that both 12 and 13th could be paved in 2026, if not 2027.
There has also been a question about fire hydrants on 12th. Are there any?
There is one fire hydrant on 12th, and that's not something where we would want to cut in to that old AC line to put an additional hydrant. But when the new water line comes in, we'll be adding hydrants.
Because I wasn't sure if there, I don't think I've ever seen the hydrant on 12th.
There's many streets, older streets throughout the city where the hydrants are not, every 300 feet on the dot, and that's one of those streets.
Yeah, but is that 300 feet now a line that we're going to stay with, or is it going to fluctuate with the amount of houses and or hydrants, or the length of the street, or what would be in the future hydrant setup?
Well, we would want to add one hydrant both on 13th and 12th when that water line comes in right in the middle. And that'll help us achieve our proximity of 300 feet because we have them on either ends of the street. And so that 300 feet, though, that's set by the fire department. And so I don't see that number changing based on how many houses come in. I think that that's based on their equipment. I believe that's based on their equipment.
And what size main are we using? Some of the streets have old mains, old hydrants, old infrastructure. With the standard we're using now in the future, when we rebuild a road, what would that be?
We'd probably do an 8-inch ductile iron.
Or
8-inch ductile iron. We'd need engineering to assess that. If the question is, what do we currently have out there? We have a lot of things out there.
yes, we
Yes.
do.
So
I was just wondering what the standard going forward, for the future and so forth, what we'd be looking at.
yep, 300 feet, that's the standard that we work at off of with the fire department when we look at new development.
Yeah, I'm mentioning that because even the property next to me has 5 new houses on it. And that's, one big change. And it's the old system and so forth, the old hydrants and so forth. And I suspect that type of development's going to percolate to a higher level over the next couple of years.
It may. 13th is in a little bit better condition. They have one hydrant on the primary road there towards the south end of 13th.
All right, just good conversation. Thank you.
Councilmember Hall?
So I appreciate the traffic calming coming on. The Emerald Street, what do you call it? It's not a speed bump, it's a speed hump.
Hump, yes.
Hump. It seems to be working better. It is slowing traffic down. We are seeing where they're veering off the side of the road to only one wheel gets it, or they're going into the middle of the street to avoid it. Walkers got to be careful because you're coming into that, so you got to be looking for that. I thought when the study came back, they were going to bring that back to council so we could see what the recommendations were, but I'd never seen that either posted or come back to council. It would be nice, it would have been nice if we knew that was going to happen, because people come to us, of course, and ask, whoa, what are you doing? And I go, I didn't know it was coming, you know. So there. And then electrical, that was supposed to come back to council to, I know you're still, are you negotiating the substation, or has that been taken care of?
The substation has been taken care of. Over the last week, the city has upgraded, we've been on our distribution tie with TPU, and we've upgraded all of the feeders coming out of the substation. So to upgrade those feeders, it requires an outage. So the city's done everything it can this year to get ready for the loss of the distribution tie. And we're continuing to have those conversations with PSE. That's likely a year to a 2-year discussion with them. But the substation has been settled. Regarding the rates, the outcome of the rate assessment was that if we continue to increase by CPI, the city is in a good financial footing over the next 10 years. And it did have a kind of an organizational change to our different categories that we bill through. And so we're currently developing what that organizational change will look like. It'll no longer just be commercial or residential. There'll be different subcategories, which will bring us up to the industry standard terminology and how other utilities categorize their users. And so it's a bit of a different and bigger lift, but it's not going to impact as far as staying solvent and having enough financial savings to keep the utility moving forward. So we're planning on that coming back in late November, or it's an organizational change. It's not a rate change.
Okay, so no loans?
No.
Don't need that, okay. All right, appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Cedar?
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to the Public Works. I really appreciate the traffic calming. I think it's a good example of not letting perfection be the enemy of good. It's had a very, just anecdotally, it's had a very significant effect on Emerald, and I really appreciate that. So I look forward to seeing that throughout the city as studies come back. And then I want to say thanks to the police, chief. You got a great team, and I really appreciate all you do. Over the weekend, I saw a lot of very measured actions, and it just really made me proud of the police. Thanks.
Councilmember White? Nothing for me, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. Going back to the speed bump, I love it, yeah, because it's definitely slowing people down. But the couple issues I have, is there a way that we could, because at night, it's harder to see, even with the white reflective on it, if it could be, painted or, something of that nature, just to make it more, to really stand out a little bit more. Or even putting them in conjunction where there's already a street light. So then it's a little bit more illuminated. Do you have I know the data isn't coming in, in like one lump sum. Do you have a list of, or ones that you're going to do next? And the why I'm asking is because I'm thinking with traffic calming, it's also a PR move too. And I think it's better if people know that it's going to be, another speed hump's going to be coming here. So then at least they'll know, rather than, how'd that get there? And which kind of also leads me into, with the traffic cameras, is if there could be, signs actually, because I haven't seen any signs that say cameras. Just do another kind of PR move is, so you're kind of doing your due diligence. So it's not like, see what the city's doing. Now they're trying to catch me. So at least if you put up a sign, they know that, okay, I got to slow down. Because that's really the purpose for all the traffic calming, is to really slow people down. So then it won't be, or can't be construed as easily saying, oh, the city just wants to make money on people that are speeding or not stopping. They're actually really are trying to slow people down. You know, those are just the thoughts that had come to me, like when I hit the speed bump. I like it, but because I was actually talking to one of the residents, and he said, you know, there's going to put a speed bump down there. And just kind of like when I was talked to the gentleman that lives on the corner of, not related to traffic calming, but he lives on the corner of Porter and Taylor. And when the apartment started going in, he deliberately asked me, do you know what's going on over there? I said, no, I don't, but I could look into it. And he said, I know what it is. They're apartments. So I'm just, you know, just being kind of transparent, having better communication on that so they don't have to guess. You know, it's, I think the public relations aspect of it, I think can play really well into the traffic calming and improvements around the city too.
Very good.
And Mayor Pro Tem, we do have signs warning of the cameras
Okay.
And those
I
speed
knew
bumps.
you were,
and the speed hump.
okay.
Yeah.
I saw the one for the speed hump, but my wife and I both said, that's awfully small.
Yeah, I do agree with the smallness, but it was a conversation that we had as a team well before the cameras. I wanted to make sure signs were, and they are there,
Okay.
so,
And of course, drivers have to look out. It's the law, so
yeah.
drivers drive.
So I could've
Well,
been just-
1,500 don't follow the law in 9 days, so.
I could have just been being blind as a bat and just, you know, just went right by it, but.
Okay, cool. Planning Manager Stallnecker?
Just a couple quick updates. So I met last week with the ownership and the construction company that's finishing up the Meridian at Stone Creek. That project started in 2018, had been through multiple contractors, multiple ownerships. And then I spoke with that one is being finished off by our contract building consultants. And they are getting really close. They've got most of the floors for the residents. They've got 2 elevators to finish and just sort of fine tuning. So we're working with them on how they can get a temporary certificate of occupancy to start showing the different rooms that are done. And then hopefully in the next month or so, they will get their full certificate of occupancy. So emailed all that out to them today, and hopefully that project will be one we can close out. There is a neighborhood meeting on Wednesday for a subdivision. This one is north. It's for the subdivision that is being proposed north of the Hill Tower Park. And then the building inspector, Robert Flint, and myself are having the opportunity. Bonnie Lake has set up having an expert from the Department of Ecology come out and do some free training on shoreline basics. So I'm having the building inspector go with me, and hopefully we'll get some good tips as we deal with the shorelines that are here in Milton.
Director Madden?
Yes, I wanted to update council on the speed humps. We've got our traffic calming program, which calls out the flow chart. Step 1 is education, outreach to the community, which is a part of this. I always direct people to the website, and this resource is right on there, and that tells a user or reader what is the traffic calming program and how will their request be moved through that program. And so on Emerald, well, I'll back up. In February of this year, we performed a traffic calming analysis and engineering study on 4 roadways. We took a look at Taylor, Yuma, Emerald, and 28th. So those are the streets that we're looking to calm. And the reason that we targeted those streets is because we knew that the photo enforcement program would be coming onto Milton, and that would push people onto these outside streets, primarily Taylor and Emerald. And so Taylor, its current classification, it's not a candidate for speed humps, but Emerald was. So we got that study back in February. Over the last 6 months, we've continued to record data on Emerald, and I know that not photo enforcement, but police enforcement has increased on Emerald and in the neighborhood. We were still not seeing the reduction in speed on Emerald that we wanted to see. And so that's why we've moved to step 4, which is a phase 2 traffic calming. I'm viewing this as more of a pilot study. That's why we didn't put in permanent speed humps. Let's put them out there for 6 months, see how the community reacts. And so we are planning on putting 2 more on Emerald, one between 23rd and 19th, and then one between 19th and 15th. All of those sections are broken up by stop signs. We're trying to go essentially in the middle of those stop signs. And so this will be a corridor change. And so we're trying to, emphasize the need to speed or slow down on Emerald. And we're approaching that through this kind of first step of phase 2. These are plastic units that lock together. They're bolted to the ground. We can remove them without a significant cost or burden to Public Works or the city. So that's what we're doing there, and that's why we're doing it. 28th is the next street that we'll continue to monitor, but we've put up those speed reader signs so people know how fast they're going now, and that hasn't slowed traffic. I know the PD has done increased enforcement, and that isn't getting us the results that we want for a safe community. And so now on a couple of those corridors, we're moving into phase 2. Emerald's just the first one, but I'll make sure that I bring forth any other physical changes to council that we're planning in the future. All right, that's all I have.
No comments.
Okay, Chief?
As you know, the traffic program is going. We have well over 3,000 violations. And we ran some data, or we actually looked at the data. And tentatively, right now, we're seeing 83% are not Milton residents. So, and it'll be interesting to see over time how that changes and how the picture changes, which is just confirming anecdotally what I had said before, that most of the violations, it's a cut-through city. Those are the people that are committing the violations. And I think we're going to see that. And probably as behavior changes for the Milton residents who are aware, I think we're going to see that number increase to more violations that are not from the city. And so tentatively, that's where we are right now. We assisted in a fatality down on the Puyallup train tracks this weekend. So just wanted to let you guys know. Also, we assisted Fife with a suspicious death investigation that's still under investigation. Officer Haney stopped by today. He is in good spirits. He had his baby. He had gotten a pass, and so he was here for a couple days, but he was in and out, and he's excited to come back, still planning tentatively in March. Officer Wilcox is still on light duty. He was the gentleman who broke his elbow, and so he's supposed to be reassessed in November. And that's all I got for now.
Just a couple of reminders. We have trunk or treat next Thursday here at City Hall from 3:30 to 5:30. If you would like to participate as a council member and you have not let Jessica know, please let her know ASAP. We're also collecting candy to help support that event. So if you'd like to donate candy, that would be appreciated. It can be dropped off in the MAC lobby. We restarted our partnership with FBLA for the STEAM in the MAC, which is the third Thursday of each month. And so I'm just excited that they have come back to partner with us on that. And then lastly, a little bit early, but just want to make sure you're aware that the VFW will be providing the Veterans Day service again this year. So that is Tuesday, November 11th at 11 a.m. And that is all I have. Is there anything else this evening before we adjourn? Okay, so seeing that all items have been concluded, I will adjourn the meeting at 7:59 p.m.